What's up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and welcome to another episode of Rant Café, number 48, I believe. And in this episode, it's going to be a great fun time. We're discussing ecchi anime, and does ecchi anime suck? Pun intended. Thank you. By the way, we are after this Rant Cafe. We're going to have an after party in our Discord server. Link in the description. Voice chat after party. We're going to be kind of hanging out, talking about all the ways we triggered recon. So if you want to join us on Discord, feel free to do that. Joining me today, we have a full house of awesome guests, including for the first time ever, Holden Casanova, formerly known as Holden Reviews, a fine gentleman, former cast member of Pod Taku. What's up,
my man? How's it going? I'm doing pretty well. I'm really excited about talking about ecchi. I know a lot about it.
Yeah, same here. Pleasure to meet you and your cat.
Of course, thank you.
We also have back again Nawagata, this time showing her face and her awesome Fooly Cooly poster.
Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to get like closer into, so I'm like in the middle, but I have a desk right here. Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you for having me again.
Yes. Actual girl confirmed.
Yeah.
You never know on the internet.
You never know.
Perfect for an ecchi.
You still don't know yet.
I guess you never do know. Sol Maka is here with us.
Yup.
Good to see you, Sol. Also, of course, we have Anime Recon. We could not do this episode without him. We could not.
Oh yeah, boys. My time to shine has come. The ecchi harem king has arisen.
Has arisen or has arisen?
Sorry, has arisen.
What is arisen?
My mistake. I don't know my English
matter.
too well.
He's here. He's ready to roll. And finally, joining me, us as well, is Nux Taku. And by the way, we just recently, he uploaded on his channel a challenge where he challenged me to guess terrible anime descriptions. I've left the link to that as well in the description, as well as the link to everybody's channels here. So be sure to check that out. That was a fun time, Nux. A fun, frustrating time. But thank you, yes, for having me and welcome.
Thank you so much. Always good to be here, and I expect a rematch when you have the balls to write enough good descriptions for me.
I have about 9, okay? I have about 9, so it's going to happen.
All right. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so first... Me too. Me too. Some of them I feel like are very nice. Very good. Also, by the way, the Konosuba video... Who is the best girl in Konosuba video is dropping tomorrow, Nux. I think you will like it. I did mention you in that one as well because I had to. But yeah, I think you will enjoy that. And now let's get into the ecchi, guys. First, can we confirm, is there going to be a new season of High School DxD?
Yes, there is.
Absolutely. Yep, there is.
Yep. We saw the new preview for DxD Season 4, and they changed a lot of things in it.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
The news,
I haven't seen the preview
I saw the
yet.
news that there would be. But then I did not see any official news. It was kind of almost like...
They showed a trailer of it. That was how...
They showed the
everyone
trailer,
was-
yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's animated by Pink Pineapple now, so maybe we'll get more than we expected before.
Pink pineapple.
I've never heard of this company before.
Yeah, they do hentai.
Don't they do hentai?
Yes,
Do they?
do.
Hentai? Do they do that?
Yeah. They do.
No.
Yeah.
They do. So good. We got a man
What
taste
is
over here.
Really good then.
what is a pink pineapple? I have no idea.
Wait, who animated DxD Season 1, 2, and 3?
I think it was JC Staff.
They should have fucking done that. Why did they give it to a hentai company?
But they didn't. It's not actually Pink Pineapple. It just has a designer who worked with Pink Pineapple years ago. I think it's a huge improvement overall, though. It's a lot more. It's a lot less rigid, so it should be easier to animate.
So yeah, so that's a good point, Holden, that you are making here in terms of what is the point of ecchi? And let's talk about how we define ecchi in the first place.
Sure.
The way I define ecchi is stuff that is not Are we getting background noise from someone? What's happening?
No
Yeah,
idea.
I'm getting background. 1 second.
Okay. Now Agata
Sorry.
has to strangle some people in her home.
Sorry.
Okay. Ohio, everybody. Jake Paul is from there. What can you do? But yeah, so my question is, people are saying, how do you define ecchi? Because there's a lot of anime with ecchi components for fan service. And the way I would define ecchi is something like High School DxD that has such a heavy focus on ecchi that it distracts you Because like anime like Gurren Lagann, Code Geass, they have ecchi for sure, but the plot is still central. To me, an anime like High School DxD, even Keijo, which I love, and so on, like these types of anime are the focus really is ecchi. Let's face it. And so, is there really a point to having ecchi anime? Why not either watch anime or go full hentai? That's my question to all of you.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on how you define ecchi because you're already casting it in the light that it can't be good because it's just, not an anime with a plot. It's only focused on, over-sexualizing women.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I disagree with you.
Ignore half the anime.
Exactly. It's a genre like every other genre. There's action anime, but the action anime can also have a plot and can also be ecchi. It just means that there are over-sexualized women and over-bouncing boobs everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand this concept of over-sexualizing. Are you saying there can be enough sexualizing?
Yeah, it's all about being
It's always enough.
I mean more than normal. I'm not saying more than necessary.
Okay,
Sure.
okay, I understand. By the way, someone in the chat, let me see who it was, said, it was Tasker or whatever, says, ecchi is why Japan has low birth rates. So
maybe there's a lot of different reasons, socioeconomic as well.
It's definitely like it's a cancer in itself, but it's also a blessing in itself too, because there's examples where ecchi was presented in either funny comical ways that made something like a series more comical, or it kind of had a sexy tone. You know what I mean? I mean, think of High School of the Dead. I mean, think of how, if you minus the ecchi from it, it was a straight up horror, you know what I mean? But the fact that they threw that in there, it kind of added that little bit of comical edge to it, you know what I mean? There's cases where it can be done really classy.
Yeah,
Well, in High School of the Dead, I found it more immersion breaking than comedic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
When I was watching my 2D cartoons, I was really worried about my immersion.
It's how you do it. It's how you put the ecchi, how you involve it in the anime. You know what I mean? It can either come off as comical, it'll come off sexy, or it'll come off as cancer or overplayed. It's all depending how you do it.
I think that ecchi at its core is the distinction between ecchi and hentai is usually the distinction of, like, for instance, ecchi is aimed to simulate a phenomenon known as blue balls, which is getting someone to the point of ejaculation without allowing them to do so, creating a prolonged sense of orgasm or high stimulation. So when you look at something like
why do you have to be so official? Why do you have to be so
hentai.
specific on stuff?
That's true.
Because the distinction,
You're being too fucking specific.
Okay,
the line is so thin. That's why it's important to be specific, because the line between ecchi and hentai, if you to a very inexperienced viewer or someone who hasn't seen much anime, is blurred. I would say it's almost invisible, because how could you look at something like any of those fan service shows and maybe how they go against your definition of what you think hentai is? It's all about, because it's very, it's all based on the wording, because it's, the only thing that doesn't occur is, like, probably penetration or entry of any kind. I'd say is the only.
Not anymore. There's an anime this season with penetration.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't define it entirely, and that's why I didn't say that was the case. Because you could take something even that does it in a progressive way. So if you take something like even with the, what was it? It's 2 seasons ago now. It was about the Scum's Wish. Yeah, is the English title. Where it uses sex. It uses sex to facilitate a point, and not as a focal point for, like, mindless titillation. It's used in a very different way.
Yeah, but
so this is
you're explaining a difference.
Nux, 1 sec. This is a good point, because the whole blue balling aspect is what, personally, I don't see the appeal of in most ecchi anime. Now, again, I guess the amount of ecchi per anime is what would define it, then, if you don't agree with me in terms of ecchi being the focus. But, like, for example, High School of the Dead, there's so much ecchi, there's so much focus on it that it's an ecchi anime. However, it is also a horror anime, so it's a nuanced thing. My brother wrote an essay on it. It's interesting. Keijo as well, it is a focus. Focuses on the ecchi. There's a lot of ecchi in it. Whereas Code Geass has ecchi in it, but I wouldn't call it an ecchi anime per se.
No,
However,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, here's what we have on High School of the Dead.
With Code Geass fan art, there is a lot of it. But the whole thing that I'm trying to say is, what is the point of, let's say you're watching a heavily ecchi anime, even though, like, for example, Keijo, the humor I loved. It doesn't take itself seriously, and I love that. Well, you know, what is the point of watching ecchi anime that maybe doesn't have as much humor or plot, rather than just watching a hentai that also doesn't have much plot, but at least it gets you all the way. Like, you know what I mean? What is the
I would
appeal of
say
that, in your opinion?
Keijo is more of a sports comedy than it is an ecchi, because I think ecchi is focusing more on the sexual, aspects. Just like I'd say Shokugeki no Soma is more of a shonen than it is an ecchi.
It doesn't have to show off the sexual aspects, though, Nux, to focus mostly on ecchi.
What, you mean like High School DxD?
Well, yeah, technically, yeah. So High School DxD is ecchi, but it also has plot in there. So
Yeah,
it
but
has a very good story.
what's overwhelming? Thank you, Holden. What's overwhelming, though, the ecchi or the plot?
I think both, to be honest. I wouldn't mind having both.
High School of the Dead is super. I don't know. It's a super hard case to talk about. I'm super fond of it. I'm super fond of it. I love it for its actually because of its story. I read the manga back in 2012 when it was airing. The untimely demise of Daisuke Sato means, of course, we'll never see a finish to it, or at least not an official one, due to him passing away. But it was something that I was super invested in, and I feel like the anime really stopped at the point where it could really prove itself. There's an arc immediately following the anime where they go into a mall, and it's very inspired by something like Day of the Dead. And it's such a cool take of just the survival genre and everything, and it really elevates itself because it really is pretty wacky. People are peeing on each other, boobs are dodging bullets. It's really absurd up until that point, because I feel like even the mangakas who were at this time the writers really hadn't found their own style, because it covers about 3 volumes, which if you think about it, it's probably just 1 year, because it was a monthly series at the time, so 12 chapters, and it makes sense. But it's a really shame that we're not going to see more of it. Of course, it's Madhouse. We wouldn't see more of it anyway. As you know, Madhouse is pretty notorious for not even doing anything. Even when we think they are, like with One Punch Man Season 2, somehow they hand it off to someone else with thinking no one will notice.
Yeah, we even had a whole episode actually talking about what the hell is happening with One Punch Man Season 2, which has been confirmed since over a year ago. And now we're thinking, okay, so we're going to get the release date too. And it's like, oh, actually, we're switching studios, switching the director.
Huge
it's
shame.
like, oh my God, is this even going to happen? But yeah, good point.
No, huge shame. It's weird.
No game, no life. Also,
No game.
They don't like second seasons. That's for sure.
Yeah, no
At
game.
least they
no
made
life.
a movie. At least that's good.
They did make a movie of No Game No Life, as well as a regular high school
movie, right?
Yep, that has a movie. The guy looks like Genji, is why, and the movie.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, Overlord's getting a second season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's not impossible because Chihara Fuyu also got a second season.
Right.
We're diverting a lot. I think that Madhouse specifically is a really odd case with Ecchi because, of course, we're not a company. They're not a studio we would associate it with. Like, who do you think that we would normally associate Ecchi with? Because comes to mind is Zebek, JC Staff. Those are 2 that immediately come to mind for me. I don't know about you guys. I'd love to hear your opinion on what studios you feel like have just a name or a knack for making ecchi.
Well, as far as a name or a knack, I would say if it's an action ecchi or an action fantasy ecchi, half the time it's A1 Pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah, so personally, I would differentiate between something like No Game No Life, which has heavy ecchi elements, but it's not just ecchi.
Sure.
And Kill la Kill, which I think does ecchi right, but is not just ecchi. There's the plot is the focus. Whereas, for example, No Game No Life, I think their ecchi is not done well because it's just pandering to fans. It's just tropes, pandering tropes. Sure. Whereas with Kill la Kill, it's actually done creatively and in an interesting way. But that to me is not straight up ecchi. But straight up ecchi anime to me would be like High School of the Dead,
sure.
High School DxD, and Girls Bravo. Like
don't forget about Two Love Room.
We're gonna lose our audience. You're saying stuff that was before they were born, 2004.
Hey man.
Animac, don't forget about Two Love Room. Probably one of the greatest ecchis of all time.
It's just last week turned 10 years old. To Love Ru did, and it had a special event which had the likes of Even Akira Toriyama showed up and did art for it, as
Okay.
well as Araki did art, the artist of JoJo's. Everyone came and showed their support for To Love Ru, the longest running shonen in the Jump in the past 10 years. So that was a really cool moment. If you guys get a chance to see the special issue for it, it's really worth it. Got a lot of really cool artists in it.
I need to see some JoJo Ecchi.
No, it was amazing seeing Akira Toriyama because he hadn't made an appearance in Jump since Sandlion in 2007. So it was really cool. I just can't believe To Love Ru, of all things, resurrected him.
He's a very, very like
He's super selective because he's got Dragon Ball Z, pretty big intellectual property right there. He's got Dragon Quest. I don't think the man ever needs to work again. He can just do character designs his whole life if he wants to now.
It's like inventing like Pokemon or Dragon Ball or something. You do that, you're done. You don't need any more money. You don't need anything.
No,
But yeah, so I'm not a big watcher of Ecchi per se because of the whole blue balling concept. I'll watch anime with fan service. I'll watch that other thing, but the middle thing called Ecchi, I don't watch much of. Like I said, I appreciated High School of the Dead. I appreciated Keijo for the humor and all that, and kind of the commentary, the satire aspect. Yeah. But I'm not a big fan of Ecchi, so that's why I'm trying to see, what is the appeal of just your generic Ecchi that just basically blue balls you, but doesn't really, isn't noteworthy in terms of being a great comedic piece or anything like that. And
So
Ricon, this is what you need to convince me that these Ecchi series are worth my time, such as Hajime no Gal, which I dropped after like 2 episodes.
Oh man, Hajime no Gal.
I don't blame you, man. I mean, after that fat guy who just kept on.
Don't blame the fat guy, okay?
No, it is. No, Nux, it is the fat guy.
You.
It is
Honestly,
the
there's
fat guy.
not.
It is
He
the
was
fat
pretty
guy, literally
bad,
just
but-
mapping out the little kids and obsessed with little kids is the reason why Anime dropped it.
from the start. It
I'm
has
sure.
no hope. Or right now, what's going on with the little sister is all you need. Holy crap! And also that show bitch anime where there's literally
I'm fucking loving it. It's so good.
there's literally the humor is horrible. There's literally a scene. This little girl tears something and says, "Oh no, it tore." So the mother says, "Don't worry, it'll hurt more when you tear your hymen."
Nux, have you seen the latest
No,
episode
serious?
of Show Bitch?
You
You
get the
have to
humor?
watch it. You have to watch the latest episode. I
Recon,
laughed my
you're
ass off.
not answering his criticism. You're just saying you have to watch the last episode.
Recon, I watched
Okay,
the
what is it?
latest episode just because I knew I was coming here today, by the way. I watched
Okay.
all 3 episodes, and the humor is the same the whole way through. It's just, let's say a word that sounds sexual. It's hilarious. That's the comedy.
Oh yeah, that's not.
Okay. To be honest, here's the thing. Me and Nux, we're both completely different people. We have different tastes on how we take things. So I found it funny. I don't know about you, Nux. You probably didn't find it funny because you're not an ecchi guy. I'm an ecchi guy. So yeah, I don't want to argue. So, yeah.
It's great.
I just
because
want to say
occasionally
there's
when I
a
need
guy
to
in
know,
the chat called Hajime no Gal Fat Guy. Like, are you guys talking about me?
I'm glad my alternate account went through.
You should be in prison, man.
Someone needs to lock him up. Just lock him up.
Salamanca, your take on ecchi anime.
My take on ecchi anime. Well, first of all, I don't know. I understand and include anime that have like say an ecchi element in it, but are not like just full blown ecchi focused. But if you want to talk about like specifically the ecchi focused ones, like To Love Ru and stuff like that, then I would say they can be enjoyable, like how you found Keijo enjoyable, because there's like a comedy element to it. Like for me, I love To Love Ru. That was hilarious. It was funny. It was really funny, because it was like the guy couldn't help but like stumble or drop or do something that would just turn into some kind of ecchi moment. And there was loads of like great characters in the cast, even though like they're just there for like the whole ecchi aspect. But the characters themselves were enjoyable. Like I think Yui, who was the class president kind of gal or disciplinary committee thing, like she was my favorite from that. There's someone just told me about Rosario Vampire, but yeah, Rosario Vampire, see that one really annoyed me. But
once
that's
you're
the
on To
simple
Love Ru,
fact.
hold on, back to To Love Ru for 1 second.
Okay.
You know the main girl. I think her name is Momo, but I'm not good with names of ecchi.
No, that's not the main
Lala.
girl. The main
Which-
girl
no,
is
which one are you talking about?
Momo's in the second season.
Yeah, Momo's in
The
second
one
season.
that
Younger
the one
sister.
that basically is his girl. The one with the pink hair.
Is
That
it Lala?
doesn't help.
Lala, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Lala.
Yes, Lala.
So he's like the main girl, but don't worry, we saw her enough that we could focus on many other pairs of tits that we don't need to worry about her anymore.
Yeah, because she wasn't even.
So that's like Sword Art Online.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
Where was the
No,
Suna in
no,
season
you're-
2?
you
In
guys are
Gangwalk,
wrong.
where was she?
No, you guys
Yeah,
are
we're
wrong.
all
You
wrong.
guys
Where
are
was
wrong.
she
It's
in
not- no, no.
Gangwalk?
It's just not the same as SAO. I don't know why you
No,
said that, Anima.
no, but we're saying like the lack of inclusion from Lala is the same as the lack of inclusion from Asuna.
No, there was there was inclusion of Lala throughout the second and the third season, but for the rest of the girls in SAO there wasn't much. But in To Love Ru was completely different, so I don't know why it would be the same as SAO.
Well, I haven't seen the Tula Ru thing you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to trigger you, which is what we do here.
Now I know you're
Yeah.
triggering me, and I'm trying to fix this shit because
The
I'm the
reason-
actual harem king.
The
Yeah,
real
I mean-
reason Harem King.
Harem King.
Again, Holden, if you think he's being ironic, he's not. He really calls
does
himself
love
the
that.
Harem King, and he loves this shit, and we love him, and it's a great time. The reason I asked Soul specifically is because he's a hentai artist, so I'm interested in what he actually thinks about these ecchi anime that are not quite hentai, but getting
Sure.
there.
So in other words, you mean like how do I feel about the whole blue balls aspect?
Yeah, like
What's the
That's
point
how I
in
feel about
what's the
that.
point in going like halfway when you could just go all the way? You know what I mean? Like what's the need? I think that is only for kids, to be honest, because it's the young audience or young-minded people that will more see it for that. Whereas I will look at To Love Ru not for the tits and us, but for the comedy. That's what I'm watching it for.
Oh, you're
I'm watching
not
it
the
for the comedy and
Like,
for
I'm
the
hearing the
characters.
words coming
Yeah,
out of
man.
your mouth, and I'm like, wow, this is a respectable,
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm watching it for. It's like if I'm watching Keijo, I'll be watching that for the comedy. You know what I mean? I want to see all these butts come out of the sky like freaking Gilgamesh. You know what I mean? That is funny. That's not edgy. That's not going to turn me on. It's not going to make me feel any kind of, excitement. That's just going to be funny that they've done a pun like that. You know what I mean?
Hey,
So
it can be
that's
both.
what I'm saying.
It can do both. Okay, so
Yeah.
Yeah, but it has to be both. It can't just be, to turn you on.
Yeah, but like I like what I was going to say about.
I agree. Which is what I think is the point of why I don't like most ecchi anime, but I do like ones that are strong with comedy, like Keijo. And by the way, feel free to recommend me some good ecchi anime like Keijo that I might actually enjoy without just feeling cheated and like
Animac, Trinity
fast
You have to
forward
watch
this shit.
Shokugeki no
Fast
Soma,
forward.
man.
Animac, Trinity 7. Watch that.
No, not Trinity 7.
No, please watch Trinity 7. That
It's
was
alright.
amazing. Fucking love
27
Trinity
is a
7.
rough one.
Trinity 7 was
Um,
great.
Soma's a really good example. Soma's like a really weird one. What would you guys classify it as? I want to
What?
hear your thoughts. Shokugeki no Soma, or Food Wars in English.
I'll
Shokugeki
class
no
that as
Soma
edgy. I wouldn't
is-
class it like a shonen. I'll class it like an edgy.
No, I would
focus on the edge.
class it
Oh,
as
no.
full-blown shonen. It's the JoJo's of cooking, just with ecchi.
No.
Yeah,
I'd say
without
there,
the
there,
finger
there
sucking and
wasn't.
shit.
Well, wait,
wasn't
it's not
real-
that. How can it be JoJo's?
There's no real plot to Shokugeki no Soma until just recently in the manga,
Yeah.
where there's this central thing that has come into it.
Okay,
That's
well,
the
if you're
only
looking
time when
at
a
it
real
that
plot
way,
has come into it.
Well,
Before
in
then, it's
27
just generic like
From that-
tournament kind
yes,
of.
but from
mindset.
that perspective, My Hero Academia doesn't have that much plot either at this point in the anime either.
Whoa, no.
Well, the tournament arc didn't. I'll agree with you.
Yeah.
Well,
The
there was a
tournament
tournament
arc,
arc
no,
in
there-
Shokugeki no Soma. All the low balls that were thrown at the characters in My Hero Academia were, okay, the villains attacked the school, the teacher saved them, whatever, that's nice. But that's equivalent to a much, smaller perspective as, well, there's this guy, Aizen, in Food Wars, not to be confused with the Bleach, loser.
Yeah,
but,
the one who's running that business.
Right. So he wanted
His
to,
hometown.
or essentially trying to kick Soma out of school would be an equivalent to Deku, I don't know, losing his power or whatever.
But the major difference, though, is that My Hero Academia doesn't have a secondary genre. Food Wars does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the ecchi in Food Wars is as a supplement to comedy.
Yeah,
Just
no,
to make
but
you
no, but the
to
thing is, the
feel-
whole
No,
point
the only
is,
reason
not
why
his
there's a
fault that he's
supplement
making.
of ecchi into Food Wars is because sex sells, and that's the only way that they're going to push out a food anime.
yeah.
Well, I think
boy,
they-
At the end of the day, the whole goal is they cook food for someone to eat it. When someone eats it, what happens?
They blow their load.
That's the whole point of it. So the whole focus is what? Them eating the food and the reaction they get. That's the
God,
whole
I
point.
wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
would
wouldn't
agree.
call it a show like
the characters and who gets where.
Look at
Someone being a better cook is equivalent to someone being a better hero in My Hero Academia.
or a better lover.
Here's a good thing to ask
This
yourself.
just
If I
has
take
a
the
side
ecchi out of
advantage.
Anime
that-
is it still a good anime?
Well, I didn't hear
think
anything.
That's
you
a
said.
good question to ask yourself. If there's an ecchi anime that you're watching, if I take all of the sexualness, all of the etchiness out of
Out
this
of it, yeah.
anime, is it still a good anime?
No,
yeah,
it
I would
is not.
still love Shokugeki no Soma.
No, fuck
Yeah,
no,
so-
man. It
so-
needs the ecchi shit in it. We need
What
to
if
see
you
the
definitely
the
make
people's
them better?
reaction. The people's reaction do matter. If they explode,
They
if their
absolutely
clothes come
matter.
off and we see their boobs, yes, that is amazing. Wow, that adds a lot more comedic action into it. We need that shit, bro.
That's when you know an anime shit.
No,
If they need ecchi, unable to survive, unable to have a good storyline, unable to make comedic jokes
No,
or
it-
anything,
no,
then you know it's shit.
just
Yeah,
No, but this is the
Just
thing.
remember
This is the thing. You guys don't understand that Recon is defending ecchi from a perspective that he loves it, not because he's saying
Oh, I know.
that this anime
Yeah,
needs
yeah.
ecchi.
I'm not
because
saying
otherwise
every anime needs ecchi.
ecchi. But one anime that I thought of that when you were talking, Nawa, was Kakegurui. That anime, without the weird rape faces and and the whole fan service stuff, like there would be nothing unique about the concept of Kakegurui, and I don't think it would be nearly as popular if it didn't have such weird ass ecchi. Holden,
Absolutely. The overdone reactions
know.
are what,
I disagree, though.
I don't know, because I mean I don't know you can really call a weird rape face ecchi.
I think that's like a bit. I don't know. I don't think so. I think Kakegurui is really good. I think Kakegurui was. I think a lot of people are upset about it, but I understand why for sure. It's made by Mappa, so they're delivering really high product, like a really high level product. Of course, the previous ecchi anime, the only one of which they've made so far, if you're excluding Yuri on Ice, is going to be something more like Punchline, which is a really good example of like what I think that you guys would enjoy. It's such
Punchline.
Punchline is crazy.
Punchline is a crazy ecchi. It is
It's an
really
overdone.
cool.
It
The end of the
overdoes
world.
it to a point
It's
of
really
comedy.
cool. It's super unique.
Yeah.
You'll have a cat watching porn in one scene, and then you'll have a girl bitch slapping robbers with a straw in the next scene.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's an
Well, that
over
sounds like the kind of shit you like, Nux, because you're such a fan of JoJo's.
JoJo's.
JoJo's has 2 good arcs out of the 123 volumes. It has, I think, maybe around 40 good volumes.
Now
Most of
you
it's
want
bad.
some new-
So now you just triggered Nux.
I remember the Podtaku Holden and Giguk's Bizarre Adventure.
SBR is the only one worth really experiencing. The rest is kind of eh.
Still
Like,
okay.
yeah,
I
SBR
still
is so
remember
good.
Giguk fighting with you tooth and nail on this point.
Yeah, I remember him too. Shout out to my boy.
Yeah, no, but as I was gonna say before, the only time actually really annoys me is when they end up changing like the canon material that we know. So like Rosario Vampire, that series just turned into a pure like harem ecchi, unnecessarily so. When like if you read the manga, it's nothing like that at all. Same like Freezing, that ended
Oh,
up
man.
turning into
Totally.
like a
It's
ecchi
Stallion
focused
Limb.
show.
Yeah.
When really and truly it weren't. It's a lot more deeper than that. And yeah, when those kind of things happen, yeah, it's the whole sex sells mentality. But I think it just ends up ruining the show. Of course, some people will like that because they like ecchi. Ain't that right, Recon?
Oh
But-
yeah, boy.
For me, it's just like, yeah, it just ruins it for me because I know how good this story could have been, but you ruined it.
See,
I
the
like
thing
the Sorry
is-
Vampire. It was pretty good.
The thing
God,
is,
so-
with me, I don't at all have a aversion to ecchi because of some moral, sexualizing thing. I have no problem with it. I think
You're going to hell.
as
Okay,
hot-blooded male, I have no problem
Sure.
with being animated dude.
Animac, if you want
I think-
something,
Hold on, Recon. If anything, we're objectifying fictional women, which is better than actual porn. Come on, guys. Anyways, the thing that I'm like, I don't mind that aspect at all, but I don't like I just get bored quickly with anime that are strictly ecchi, not a good plot, and it's just kind of tease you, or have these tropes and fan pandering that just kind of like goes on and on. So the kind of ecchi that I appreciate are like Keijo, that is really funny, that kind of gets you. It's hilarious. Like, they know what they're doing. They don't take themselves too seriously, and that's the aspect I enjoy of it. So, like I said, I'm not against ecchi per se. I'm just saying that it's very rare for me to find one that I enjoy. So, Holden, any that you would recommend, sir?
Watch
oh
Prison
yes,
School. Watch Prison School.
Maso Gaku and HXH.
I said
Watch that.
Shut the hell up, Recon.
Yeah, you'd probably like. You'd probably like Prison
Animac,
School.
watch Maso Gaku and HXH.
Don't. It's literally, you must make these girls get turned on to give them power boosts. That's the plot.
Well, that's
Yes.
the hentai.
Yes, that's the best plot ever.
Why would that not be a hentai? That is the perfect plot for a hentai.
Because
Yeah,
this
so
one
what's
has
the-
12
Oh, man.
full-length
What else?
episodes.
It's not even a
What was the
hentai.
other one? Seikon no Quasar, innit? Where he has to
Anyway,
basically suck boob milk.
guys,
God,
please,
it's good.
please.
No. But no, if you've already seen Prison School, I'd say the next best thing would be something like Golden Boy for sure.
Okay,
No, I
Prison
have not
School,
seen Golden Boy, but I have seen Prison School.
Prison School is good.
Prison
But again,
School,
that was
Golden Boy.
focused on the
I got
comedy
it.
and how
Stop
ridiculous.
talking at the same time, everybody. Okay.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, Animac.
I guess-
But we're gonna have to have this war, you know.
I'm gonna start muting people if you guys keep talking at the same time. Holden, so you said
Yes.
Prison School, Golden Boy, gotcha. 2 recommendations, solid
Yeah, for sure.
recommendations. Like
No, that's specifically catered to you though. Judging by what you said that you look for in ecchi, I'd say so. I think the other thing that you have to realize is that the reason that ecchi gets away with doing comedy, I guess in quotation marks, is because since it's guaranteed to sell, the joke doesn't have to hit. That's the reason it's a supplement to where even if the joke doesn't necessarily resonate with the audience, you can still make it. Whereas if you have a pure comedy series, if that joke doesn't hit immediately, it doesn't work. If you think of just how many pure comedy series there are, there's very few. And in the past decade, there's even less than ever. The last ones that I can think of are stuff like, the one with the Otsama, the one with all the guys who look the same, just different colors from 1979.
Yep.
Yeah, with the Matsu brothers. I think that revivals the purely comedy anime. But I mean, those are very rare because
then again,
What
Nichijou
about
is
Psycho?
awesomeness.
Oh, yeah,
it's kind of
Nichijou.
Nichijou. I would say that but so I'm saying Nichijou was 10 years ago. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
Wait,
that
what about Mob
precedent-
Psycho?
I think
Mob
Mob Psycho
Psycho
has
was-
elements of comedy, but it's not
Then
a
again,
comedy.
One Punch Man has a lot of comedy.
Yeah, but
I
it's
think
also
that-
actually.
Yeah, they're battle shonen though, aren't they?
Like, it sounds like he really enjoys
Awesome.
comedy, and finding a pure comedy anime is going to be nigh impossible in today's landscape for anime.
So
Because
what would
it's-
you say Konosuba is? How do you define Konosuba?
I
Comedy.
mean, it's a fantasy comedy, but yeah,
Yeah, ecchi.
it's
Yeah,
not.
It's
Konosuba.
comedy. They just set up a setting so that the jokes can hit harder.
No, he's right. Like a flat out where the only genre you can actually put that anime in is just comedy hasn't happened in years.
I mean, like
Yeah.
it's the last one was like for me. It was
Always
Cromartie High School. Cromartie High
Have you-
School for me was the last one that really was just pure comedy because it
I
takes
haven't
place
seen
in
that.
our everyday, and it's like, hey,
Have you seen last year Tanaka-kun is always listless?
Yes, I have.
No.
Very, very funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
That was a pure comedy and it was hilarious.
I
Have
think
you
that you can really work
have you
up
seen
about
Psyche Kuso?
counterpoints, which are kind of
Psyche
moot.
Kuso? Psyche Kuso no Sainan?
Why are you getting so worked up, man? You should chill. I mean, it's just like my point is that they're few and far between, and I think that you're further making my point exemplified by only listing 3 so far.
But they're all from last year.
Wow. So out of the 185 anime that came out last year, we have 3, almost 1%. Wow.
Well,
great job.
how many good anime came out last year? How many would you say are good?
I don't know. I don't watch much anime as far as last year. I've only watched like maybe 20 or so that I deemed pretty good. I would say.
Aho Girl is good. Aho Girl is super funny. Ain't that right?
It's all subjective. though.
Aho Girl is fantastic.
And that's
comedy.
why my suggestion to him is those, because I mean, it's really rare. Just it sounds like what he enjoyed in Keijo was just how absurd it was, and that's rare to find. I think by saying it's commonplace, it's a disservice to anime as a medium as a whole, because it's not the case at all. You'd be lying through your own teeth. It's just not.
I'm not saying that form of comedy is commonplace. I'm just saying that there are pure comedies that exist that are funny.
I'm saying
Yeah,
the far and far between.
I would agree, Holden. I would agree with your point because Konosuba is a hilarious anime, but it is specifically a satire of the isekai genre, right? So it's not just like something that I think of like a just comedy would be like Daily Lives of High School Boys. Like that to me would be just a comedy. But it is rare to find a comedy that is good, that isn't action as well, or fantasy as well, or most of them are gonna end up being romance as well. Like if you take away the slice of life romance from the comedy, you get very few straight up comedies.
Well, Hanaka-kun has none of that. It's purely just comedy.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We'll watch that too.
Shimoneta.
Okay, so we'll give you that one, Nux. We'll give you that one.
Yes!
Shimoneta.
That's all I
How about
needed.
Shimoneta?
Wow.
Jimenez is ecchi.
Yeah, that's actually.
Ecchi and comedy as well, both.
Well, we're not looking.
Yeah, we were talking about just
I'm
comedy.
sorry.
I know.
The sign.
I know that's what I know. We're talking about comedy, which is why I suggested Simonero, which is also comedy, and ecchi as well.
We're just trying to say that it's very rare. It's
No,
just
yeah,
so
I
rare
agree.
because they're just mixing genres in just to sell it even more. You know, it's just
because
rare to have that.
It's hard to sell on its own. Like, think about like all of the automobile things and all the motorcycle things that have coming out. Why are all of them always combined with cute girls or something, right? It's done as a marketing ploy because they have to sell it a certain way. Because if we don't sell it for A, we have to sell it for B. That's why it's really rare that pure ecchi kind of exists, because a lot of ecchi is just an element to guarantee sales, or at least try to ensure them, for usually another subversed theme. So in some cases, it's sports. In other cases, it's comedy. It's usually ecchi on its own is really rarely found on its own, though. Same way comedies.
Ecchi's almost always paired with some sort of comedy. If there's no comedic value in the ecchi, for me, it gets really old.
But it still will sell. That's the thing.
No. Because I mean, you can say there's ecchi in Code Geass, but it's not with comedy, is it? With them shots that you get of Callum's ass.
Yeah, but I don't like the ecchi of Code Geass. I would do fine without it. I would prefer without it.
Wow, get out of here. Get out of this house.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing that I think. I don't mind ecchi being fan service being part of an anime, but I don't want it to be just in my face to the point that it's insulting and contrived, like No Game No Life. Like No Game No Life, it's so contrived, it's so cliche, it's so in your face that you're just like, man, I feel insulted by this ecchi. Like, if you're gonna make ecchi, make it plausible situations. Don't make it so cliche, so predictable, and then I'm totally cool with it. It's not the ecchi that's the problem, it's how you introduce it. Do you actually put an effort in making it an experience, or are you just like, here's some boobs, buy this, or here's some boobs, like this, associate this with boobs so you can you like this and buy the product, which I think Holden has a great point. A lot of stuff is just marketed through ecchi, but I mean, that's human nature. Right? You see, as YouTubers, we know that thumbnails with boobs.
Thumbnails.
That is honestly the
as far as
problem,
No Game
though.
No Life.
That is the problem. Like that's the one
Better
thing
thing
that
to
drives
put on
me
the cover
nuts.
of your anime, yeah.
Like the only way that it can really sell and blast out even to younger audiences. See, that's really, really sad. Is that it's
You
even
gotta be
younger audiences
lewd.
that have even
Wow.
ecchi. Like that's just, it's really, really annoying in a sense. It is kind of cancerous. You know what I mean? It kind of is. It just kind of is a little bit.
As far as
Yeah,
No
but
Game No Life,
human
just
nature,
for 1
it's like-
second,
it's going
It had-
on that primal instinct, right? It's like, what, boobs? Did-it? Click. Which is why I appreciate your shirt, Holden.
Yeah, dude, I
But
was about
we're
to say,
supposed to be more mature than that. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be like,
Everybody uses
don't
boobs
know
these
what you
days.
mean. Sorry.
Everybody wants
No.
them views. Them
No,
views.
no, you gotta give it up. You gotta give up because it's all goes on instinct on the internet, like clickbait and all that stuff. It all goes on instinct. So
I completely understand. If
That's
I see
literally what
tentacles,
this-
I'm like, go. But
Yeah.
still.
That's literally what
Yeah.
Mystic does in all of this video. He just puts
if you
boobs on his
see
thumb.
ads for anything, it doesn't have to be just sex. It could be something like a fake scandal, like Brad Pitt murdered 3 clowns. Like, you know, and you see an ad for that, you're like, oh shit, this sounds interesting. Brad Pitt murdered clowns? Like what?
Yeah.
And the best
You
ones,
click it,
the best
even
ones
though
are,
it's totally.
do not click on this ad if you are under 18 or have heart problems.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll click on it.
exactly.
I'll click on it. Ding.
Like, now I'm gonna click for sure. Like,
My-
it's just that instant.
Doctors don't want you to know this.
Yeah. Doctors hate him because he never loses his erection.
Oh man.
Yeah, you
Oh,
should
so
go
good.
into advertising, Animac. But as far as No Game, No Life goes, there were 2 parts to the ecchi. There were the mindless, okay, what are we going to do for the next 5 minutes? Well, let's just put them all in a bath together. There was that scene. And then there were the ones that were actually really funny, like where Steph was trying to, I don't know, win bets against him or whatever, and he didn't care. He knew he'd beat her in all of them anyway, so he would just say, okay, so you have to remove an article of clothing every time you lose. And that was comedic how the progression went, and she kept trying. That had to do with the dynamics of the world and was funny.
Yeah, but look
But
at the
the
shower scenes. They were just
The
ridiculous.
shower scenes were horrible.
The
Well,
shower's
no
in.
purpose.
And also the emoto bait was so fucking stupid. Oh, dude. Anyways.
How
Thank you,
about,
Holden. Now we're demonetized.
how about
Yeah,
my
I don't expect
my wife is a student council president?
monetized. There's no way.
Well, I'm pretty sure I know why the challenge video with you got demonetized.
It's
Wait, did it get demonetized, Animac? Did it?
Everything
Yeah.
gets demonetized. Like every Rant Cafe gets demonetized for some reason. I have no idea. But it doesn't
Well,
matter
that-
because it's not like we
you
make
can
money
know
on it.
for now that this video will definitely get
It's
demonetized
probably because
after Ecchi talking.
Google's doing it. Google's like, you know what? I'm gonna get you. You're using my Google Hangouts.
My wife is a student council president. Best Ecchi ever.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Google might give us ads on this one because, like, whoa, someone used Google Hangouts.
Yeah,
Give this man money.
or
Yeah,
that.
we do.
Yeah,
We use Google Hangouts for Rant Cafe because it's the easiest way not to have to do editing or anything of any sort.
Sure.
So
Hashtag not sponsored.
yeah, man. If Google sponsored me, I'd have like a headband that says Google, just like a Naruto.
you know,
It's just
Discord
a
has video chat now.
The village
I would
of
sell
Google.
out to Google, but so yeah. So for Rant Cafe, what we do is we just record. We don't even prepare. We just come here and just like rant with people. We call it Rant Cafe so we can have that kind of as a backing. Like, oh man, this is not serious.
Yeah,
So unlike Pod Taku, which like took months for an episode to be put together and shit,
Oof,
for us it's just like let's just see what happens. Let's all just go in here, see what happens. Talk about
Yeah.
Ecchi, Recon versus Nux. If
Yeah.
like if we ever
So many people have been asking that to happen. Recon versus Nux. When is it
Why
gonna
are you
happen?
talking?
When is it
Well,
gonna happen, Animac?
One thing I have to say, Holden, one of the reasons that made me really want to invite you specifically for this Rant Cafe was because you've mentioned in a Pod Taku, if I remember correctly, that you would always try to watch Ikki Tosen in planes to attract attention.
Yeah, that
Ikitosen.
sounds like something I would do.
Ikitosen was alright the first 2 seasons. It got worse as it
So,
went on.
what do you guys think about other people noticing your addiction to Ecchi, mostly targeted at Recon?
Suck these nuts.
See,
Do you
that's
find it
what I'm gonna
awkward?
say, You get demonetized.
Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know. It depends. Anime is something you watch at home.
Wow.
No one knows what anime is.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Anime is becoming more and more mainstream. There's a lot of misconceptions about it for sure. And
Yeah.
I just actually got my first ever anime body pillow, guys.
Let me see it.
I can't
No,
show it because I'm
today. Not
gonna
today.
have a reveal in the next video that's dropping tomorrow. It's who is the true best girl in Konosuba.
When did you
and
get it, Animac?
Oh, it's
I'm going
darkness.
to reveal.
It's
My-
literally darkness, and that is actual fan service.
Yeah, I'm gonna show my a pillow is gonna reveal
Sure.
who is the true best girl in my opinion. So I can't show it to anyone.
It better be
I
Rem.
love the cue cards.
Better be Rem.
Just like to put us back on track, because often we go off track and then just like, oh pie. We got it. We're on track.
Sure.
That's gonna be revealed tomorrow, my first ever body pillow. But I thought of that because when Nux asked that question, it's like it is a bit weird to have a body pillow anywhere in your house. because it's a big thing. It's hard to hide it, and if someone sees it, they're gonna be like, it's hard to explain. Like if you have a DVD, it's one thing, but if you have a whole huge body pillow, it's hard, especially if she's completely naked. That's even harder.
There's a reason
But, like,
there's
in
two
general,
sides to the pillow, man.
2 sides, yeah.
You can't defend that shit, Animek. You can't.
My body pillow's so cool.
To be honest, I'm not even ashamed.
So much, it even
I'm not even
stands on
ashamed.
its own now.
If everybody
Put a
knows I have a
shirt
DXD
and
body
buy a
pillow.
skirt. They put a shirt over it and a skirt.
Oh man.
Everybody
It
knows
looks
I have a
normal.
DXD body pillow
Dress it up.
of Ria's Grandma.
You'll be like, what?
Absolutely.
She's dressed. She's dressed.
I guess.
It's covered.
And
Wrap a towel around
then
it.
you attach a flashlight to it. What? No.
Oh yeah, Animac, is your body pillow 2-sided with a one that's fully clothed and one
It's
that's
two-sided.
Of course, it's two-sided.
It's two-sided, but I will show in the video.
Yeah, if she's sewing, wrap it around. Just wrap it around so we don't see it. Okay, just wrap it around. Then you just
Oh,
make
Okay,
it.
so
just
you-
send
you sound
something
like
bigger.
he
Any
has-
idea what you're talking about?
Recon sounds like he has experience with this. Anyone else
Yeah,
other than
sense
Recon who I know has several body pillows have a body pillow here?
Yeah.
I only have one body pillow, which is
Nope.
Ria's.
Wait. I have 3. Do I? I remember I found one on the beach back when I lived in Chiba, which is.
Found one on the beach.
Yeah, it was. So when you live in Japan, you find shit on the beach all the time, and so I found a body pillow on the beach. So I immediately knew what that was used for.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna say who was having a drunken fling on the beach with a
I
body
was gonna
pillow?
say,
That's
there's-
all I want to know.
listening to Dancing in the Moonlight, apparently.
Yeah.
Dancing in the moonlight with his body pillow.
It was it's God, yeah. It was sexualization in Japan is really interesting though. I think the reason that there's so much ecchi even exists is because sexualization in Japan is so commonplace. For instance, breasts are like never censored, in regardless of any medium, be it documentary, be it film. It's never censored. It's not considered genitalia, which is something very different
It's
from
like a
America.
man's chest, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
a man's chest.
And so it's whereas I guess on the other point, they have a lot of weird censoring for actual genitals, is what they can for penises and vaginas. They have for instance, a black bar system that they have to use, or mosaic is what
Mosaic, yeah.
Yeah.
so they have to use that. I believe the actual percentage is that there's someone's job at a publishing studio, and their job is to measure the surface area of genitals so that they can censor an exact amount of the surface area using the black bars. And that's why in your doujins and stuff, kids, you see so many black bars. It's somebody went through, found out the landmass of that genitalia, censored it just enough within the legal limits of the Japanese law.
Well,
Yeah,
first of all,
I have to do that
fuck
when I
that
go on
guy.
Pixif.
I just want to say, fuck that guy who does that, and fuck that law.
Literally best job ever.
No, yeah, I have to do that when I do pictures for hentai pictures for Pixiv.
Yep.
Then because it's a Japanese site,
of course.
it runs by Japanese law,
Mhm.
so I have to do the black bars and cover genitalia. which is-
People don't do black bars though; they just do the sun rays. The sun rays just
It's
shine
also
on
the
the
anime.
reason why we
You- yeah,
have.
you're talking
You're
about
thinking of ecchi anime that
Yeah.
they want you to buy the Blu-ray.
where they pull down the pants and then suddenly there's a ray of light. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
It's
ray
also
of
why
light
we
just going
have
in.
like lollies and tentacles and stuff like that. Was also a form around censorship.
There's
as
like
well.
so many different types of censorship. Even in the bath scenes, there you're gonna see like steam just going around the entire body and shit like that.
the only
I'm
thing
listening to Recon saying this.
the thing
What?
with like ecchi like anime, the ones that really like push the boat out there, that I wouldn't even call ecchi, I'd more call them hentai, is Yosuga no Sora
Hey.
and Aki no Sora.
Incest boys.
Yeah.
Literally.
Let's
both
go.
of them.
No, but I mean like for the actual scenes, what
Sure,
happened,
I know.
especially Aki Sora. Oh my god. Like I don't like when I found out on the anime site, I was
Sure.
confused why it was there, because I'd already read the manga, I already knew what it was about. And I was like, why is that even there? So I thought, let me check it out and see if they've censored it like how they do with things like fairy tale, whatever else. I watched it and they still had the scene where he ejaculated on his sister's face, like,
Yeah.
and it was like, How is that?
Come
Like,
back.
like, how the-
If we weren't demonetized before, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
We are now.
I'm like, fuck it. These nuts. Yeah,
Anyways, the point is, for me, incest is only cool if it's not related by blood. Okay, if it's related by blood, I'm
Yeah,
not.
Well, you're in luck.
Yeah.
Because literally
Yeah.
both of those are.
I agree.
yeah, like Kiss X's is right because they're not actually blood related. It's
Yeah.
just marriage.
I was pretty happy with Kiss X. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay.
a
It's
decent
kind
show.
of fun. It's kinda
OVAs are
fun.
better than the series.
Yeah,
Decent.
the manga's better. It's,
Oh, for sure.
It's got more
Yeah.
interesting, definitely. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of weird.
I mean, that's usually the case, though. I mean, manga, they can't allocate so much resources to making quality, I use quality in large quotation marks, ecchi anime, or at least it's not commonplace. Whereas in manga, it's a lot easier. Of course, you have an artist and usually their assistants producing what they believe is like the best work to their capabilities. And so that's why it's usually, the stark contrast is pretty clean. You can usually tell an ecchi anime literally by the way it's shaded or like highlighted in the anime. It's like, if it looks poor enough, you're like, either A, this anime is from 2007, or B, it's probably an ecchi anime. You can just tell immediately by looking at it, usually, what it's trying to do.
All right, here's a good question. What turns you on the most? Popsicle sucking or ice cream sucking? Sorry, popsicle sucking or a finger sucking? Which one?
I really need to get those cards, Holden.
None.
Yeah, except you
Yeah,
need
no,
one
okay.
that says, "Shut up, Recon."
Sorry, not for me.
Just
Knox, can you answer Econ's question?
Oh,
Nope.
come on, Nux, answer it,
Again.
please.
I feel completely defeated this time.
ice cream.
I spent an hour talking about my least favorite part of anime.
Oh, damn.
How
Wow.
could that be your least favorite
I
part?
was literally about to say, wow, how is that? How can you accept the medium when I would say almost 30% has some element of ecchi or fan service?
Well, I don't mind when there's some element. I mind when it's the main element.
Yeah.
I think a lot of old timers would be like, back in my day, all we had was people punching each other. We didn't have any of this heterosexual shit in the screen. We ain't got that.
You damn kids! When I was
Back
watching
in my day, the
Meatloaf,
best sex scene in anime was Berserk.
Back
Yeah,
in my day, Yatsura's what got me hard.
Bro, even with like Cowboy Bebop, we got some nice Faye Valentine fan service.
Yo, dude, it's Katsu, dude, of course.
But
Even-
that wasn't the focus
Toshihiro
of the show.
Kawamoto, the legendary designer, where all the women are femme fatales and all the men are badasses. I love his designs; they're so good.
Also, even Rose of Versailles, I was like, I smelled that rose, if you know what I'm saying.
You know,
From
Fist of
70s.
North Star. Even Fist of North Star had a ecchi.
Yeah, even like Galaxy Express 3.9 had some ecchi,
You're trying to
Yeah,
prove
yeah.
to me that every ecchi anime is bad. I think that every anime that's only focused on ecchi without them knowing that
Do have
it's
some.
ridiculous is bad.
Yeah, I feel that, Nox. I understand you. Like I said, if it's straight up ecchi, there's not much humor. Why not just go hentai, which is like no plot? They go get to the point.
Or just be like Akisora or Yosugu no Sora, because they're basically hentai, basically,
Well, then you gotta talk. You gotta talk so that we see our screen.
Yeah, dude. So what's going on is I actually Toshihiro Kawamoto is my favorite character designer. So I've got some original cells by him and stuff back when he was an original designer. So of course he doesn't have eyes there. Put on eyes. Yeah, and then you got some of the old
Put the
Bebop,
eyes lower.
some of the old Bebop stuff. No, he's a super good character designer. He's the guy, also the designer of Golden Boy, which is where he got a lot of his style was from that. More recently, he's done Kekai Sensen, which is why he always tries to make women look like femme fatales and men try to be as badass as possible. Usually,
Except for the main character.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
yeah, I mean, he's it's super unique. I like his style a lot because all the characters look unique, and that's something that he's really big on, is making a character super recognizable.
Yeah, like I love Cowboy Bebop. The characters in that show are just so iconic. The designs, The characters,
Literally everything.
the fact that they're inspired by Burning Chrome by William Gibson, like I fucking love that.
Sure,
Whole
yeah, it's a
thing.
classic.
Cowboy Bebop was perfect. Even the English dub was done well, and that's something that you don't hear a lot of people say.
No, yeah,
I agree with the English dub, but I disagree with perfect.
Yeah, I didn't like Cowboy Bebop. I didn't like the way it was.
I thought it was perfect.
I didn't like the way. the
So
story was
you're
told.
wrong. Get out of here.
No, it's just it kept on detracting and like
No, it was perfect.
taking me away.
The only thing that
It wasn't
perfect about it is that it ended too soon because I love the characters so much and the interplay between Faye, Jet, Spike, and Ed so much that I would have watched 100 episodes of them just like and their hijinks. I love it.
For me, the past was more interesting than the present. That it made the present then just feel like filler because it was just like random jobs.
It didn't
And
continue though. That's the
Random
reason
people
why.
turning into
Like it
monkeys.
can like.
Like, you know, looking for a dog and shit. It's like,
There's so much like that's the whole point. It's supposed to like cast you into all these different stories and make you think, and then once in a while they come back to the characters and they give you like this contrast of them that gives you a whole entire new complex on the story moving forward.
Well,
It's
you don't
really
need to
well
convince me that it was good, but it wasn't perfect.
No, to me it was perfect.
Yeah, to me, I would just want more of it because I loved it.
Me too.
I totally forgot that I actually have a lot of ecchi production work.
Oh, great.
What was this one? This one was from.
How are you getting all of this?
So this one was from whenever. This was from back when.
You don't know Studio Mappa's in his kitchen?
So this is back when Queensblade was airing. So this is a lot of the. What cut is this? This is cut number. Check the exposure sheet. Cut 208, episode 19.
By the way, first hand.
Yeah, I mean it's got a lot of cool stuff. Like back whenever. So this is like the director's direction for Queensblade. He's like, boom, son, but it has to end on the ass. And because
That is nice ass.
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
really
of
nice.
the production though, it's just it's super regimented. It's super budgeted. Ecchi has to be efficient to produce, otherwise you're defeating the purpose because you're trying to turn a profit. You're not trying to break even. So
I'm more of the opie though, more than that ass. You know, I'm more of the
oh,
opie
this
guy.
is Sankorea. Oh wow.
Soul, do you have anything you want to show us? Any of your work?
No, come on. Fuck.
no.
Let's
So
do
this
that
one-
on your channel, man.
Boom. We got episode 10 of Sankorea, cut number 258. This was back whenever even the maid uniforms. It's just all in the middle. But stuff like Sankorea and everything, we could even have a subset of it, but I'd say it's more romance. But fan service is just prevalent everywhere. It's just Ecchi is kind of just a more, I don't know, pronounced way of doing it.
Sankore, the zombie girl, yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that anime.
Yeah, I like that manga. I didn't like the anime. I like the
I
manga.
liked the anime. I didn't read the manga. I want to really bad.
When was this?
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
trying to think.
yeah.
This was.
It's interesting though. It's
Definitely need to
interesting,
read it.
Holden, because I agree with you. Fan service is such an aspect of anime that now, if I don't see a lot of fan service, I miss it. You know, I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember.
before. So I was looking for
Oh,
this one.
bunny outfit, yes.
Yeah, so I got like some of the. I have a lot of the production art, and well, not production. These are the actual drawings in Genga, is what it's called, which is what kids call sakuga nowadays. I hate that word. But so like Queensblade is super sexualized, and like the way that they produced this was like, yeah, okay, so it was super time effective because this is an exposure sheet. It's just a way of just tracking animation and stuff. Super weird. But basically, you have like one. That's why it's so still frame. Like I was like this. It would be kind of weird for it to be to animate something that's crazy detailed all the time, because it's just more budget. It's faster to just put something out there, right? And ecchi anime always feels like that. I think it's another big thing. I think that's not even just with ecchi anime now. It used to be, but now it's kind of bled into everything else. I think that a lot of anime try to be as cheap as possible as far as production. That's why they outsource so much to South Korea. That's why they try to export as much as they can to like Hong Kong or Bangkok, because it's inexpensive. And near to that, it almost feels like. Of course, it's not saying that that's was the case at all. I'd say Walt Disney, he might have done something with that back in the day.
Yeah.
But without ecchi or fan service, I think it's really hard to say that to like be a part of anime. There's a lot of anime that I wish I could show people, but I know it's just too difficult to kind of get past some of the weird things about it. Even stuff that I think is like perfect, like it would be perfect to show people. For instance, my case is always I really want to show Yuki Wolf Children to certain people, but I know the one scene with like the wolf in her makes it so hard to show because it's like, hey, I don't condone bestiality and it's not all like this, so let's get past it, and then it's really heartfelt. But sometimes it's just, that one factor about something is so hard for people to get past. And I think that people who get past it are super into the fandom. Like, if you walk away from an anime due to fan service, that person was probably going to hate anime anyway.
I have to disagree with that point. One thing I wanted to mention was it's hard to, if someone wants to get into anime, it's really hard to introduce an anime that's going to have ecchi everywhere because it is unprecedented and it is really weird at first glance. So
but it does
like
make up for the majority.
Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood, or My Hero Academia. Well,
Sure.
even My Hero Academia has slight fan service.
Well, then where do you go from there? And that's the problem, is that you don't have everything that goes to that caliber, that goes to that extreme. It's definitely the minority. Because I've had friends where you give them stuff like Code Geass or Full Metal Alchemist or Darker Than Black. But the problem is that eventually that cream of the crop is going to run out. And then they'll be left with anime. And we all know anime does certain things, like the "let me wash your back," right? We've all heard that hundreds of times, right?
Yep.
It's such a commonplace thing that we accept it as commonplace. But to a new viewer, if they can't get past that, it's going to be very difficult for them to get past the majority of anime. Because
which is why I think you have to break them into animes first by showing them Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or Death Note, where the focus is not there at all. And then you can slowly, move into anime with more fan service.
He's saying, yeah, you can do that. You can
But I'm
start
saying
them
you
off
can
with
do that,
like
but it's gonna
Attack on
run out.
Titan and all these amazing series, but they're so limited. Eventually, all they're going to be left with is the broad spectrum of what is anime really is. You know
What I mean is, once you show someone like 5 good series that are not focused on, and also this is going on if you want to show someone who isn't into anime because he watched Shonen as a kid, because anyone that grew up with Shonen knows Naruto and Bleach and One Piece all has those scenes,
Oh,
right?
it's Kagome.
What scenes?
Oh, I love that.
Naruto's sexy jutsu in episode 1.
Look for it
Naruto's
next
sexy
time you
jutsu.
rewatch this exact scene.
Right,
Wow.
that's Inuyasha, right?
Yeah, it's Kagome.
Yeah,
That's the
but no,
original fan service, dude.
I
That was
hear,
my
I hear what
first
you're
anime.
saying. I think that personally, like in terms of Gurren Lagann, I love it. I think everyone should see it, but
It's hard.
there is definitely some local fan service and
I
stuff
was
like that
gonna
that
say.
people will be turned off by. And also, it's so over the top in terms of like it being Studio Trigger and being crazy that a lot of people will be like, "This isn't like my, Suits TV show, so I'm not going to watch this." But like those people are history, man, because anime keeps growing. Even now, if you watch like Game of Thrones, they're full of fan service, boobs everywhere, nudity.
Of course.
Like it's just the future. So these people have to adapt because anime is becoming more and more mainstream. And yeah, like I said, completely on ecchi, it's hard for me to like it unless it's really hilarious. If there's just a certain amount of ecchi, but it's done in a way that doesn't insult my intelligence, and there's actual plot to it, like Gurren Lagann, like Code Geass, I'm all about that. No problem at all.
No, I think the problem with it is with bringing someone into anime. A lot of people I find recently anyway, no one wants to watch the older stuff.
Yeah,
And that's
like
why
Recon,
you
like
start
anime freaking
Yeah.
Recon, who doesn't watch
You don't
anything.
watch anything before
What?
2008.
I couldn't hear you, Animac. What did you say?
And that's bad
You
because
don't like
some of the
anything past,
older
like,
stuff
20.
is the best
I
anime.
can't hear you, Animac.
Yeah.
Say it again.
You don't watch anything past like 2015. You were like that guy. Watch
What the fuck?
No, 2008. That's his limit.
No,
Anything
not
before that-
2008, bro.
What is it then?
A little bit less.
What,
A little
2000?
bit-
Somewhere
Fall
Between-
2007.
between maybe like anything below 2007, I don't tend to watch because they're shit.
Yeah, see, Code Geass was 2006.
Yeah, or Cowboy Bebop, or
Death Note was
I've
2000.
I've watched Cowboy
Like,
Bebop. I'll admit, I'll watch Cowboy Bebop, and I like it.
Evangelion,
Have you
even though
seen
I didn't
Trigun?
like that. That was
Have
like
you seen
90.
Trigun?
No, I didn't like it. That's a pretty-
Trigun, Evangelion,
Inuyasha.
Nuyasha.
I haven't watched
Tenchi.
Trigun.
I love Tenchi. I'm surprised you ain't seen
Remember Tenchi
Tenchi. Same like
Muyo?
Ranma.
What Mugen
Surprisingly,
Tenchi?
Ranma.
Are you talking about Tenchi Muyo?
Yeah, Tenchi Muyo and Ranma.
Tenchi
They
Muyo.
are-
I never watched the
Tenchi
old
Muyo.
Tenchi Muyo. I've watched the new ones. The new ones, which
No,
is
the
short.
old one.
the
No, the
short
very
Tenchi Muyo.
first season of Tenchi Muyo, man. The very first
the
version.
original
The very
one. No, I
first
haven't watched
movie.
that.
Yeah, Ryo-Oki was the first version. Then after they done the series, then they done the Tenchi in Tokyo.
Yeah, or something. I
Tenchi
don't know.
Universe,
I
then
don't
Guys,
know.
Tenchi in Tokyo.
You don't understand.
Yeah,
Anime
back to Ryo-Oki.
started in 2012 when Sword Art Online began.
Do you have
Oh
to?
shit.
Have you seen
Okay.
Yu Yu Hakusho?
I think we've done a lot of talking over each other now. I think it's time to slowly wrap this up, guys. By the way, there will be a bit of an after party voice chat in the Discord if you want to join that after this. Also, leave a like if you like Rant Café. Support the crew here. And I will, before we go, I will kind of throw it to all of you guys to say who you are and what you do. And I don't know if you want to throw in your favorite ecchi anime, go ahead. But Holden, we'll start with you.
Sure. My name's Holden. I run a channel called Holden Casanova. I'm easy to contact if you want to talk to me ever. Twitter, YouTube, anything. My recommendation to you, I would actually be manga. If you want an ecchi series, I'd say something like Hanatsu X Trash. It's a manga about water polo. I like it a lot.
There is an anime to that. It was a
There's
that was
disaster.
the OVA. That was
there's
the
two
OVA,
OVAs.
yeah.
It says two OVAs.
Yeah.
Weren't they a disaster? Weren't they like horrible?
Maybe the manga's
That's why
pretty
you should
fun.
read it. That's
The manga's pretty fun.
I'm actually Serbian. We're the best in the world at water polo, so I actually really like water polo, so that's interesting.
So yeah, sure. No, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a pretty funny series. You know, there's guys wearing Speedos trying not to get erections because they're wearing Speedos. I think it's funny. It's pretty stupid. It's a good time though. I think that if you're definitely interested in ecchi, I think that manga's usually does it in a much more interesting way, and there's a lot more of it. Just in general, manga, of course. You know, one guy's. You know, it's not much of a risk for any person to put out their ideas or concepts. So if you ever want to get something that's niche, always look to manga. I'd say.
Yeah, and also with manga, you don't have to keep pressing the pause button. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, you got to press the next page button.
No, you don't have to. If you go on certain sites, you just scroll down, bro. Just scroll down.
Soul Maka.
You all missed his joke. How did no one get what his joke
No,
was?
it's cool. Soul Maka.
Yeah, I'm Soul Maka. I mainly focus on manga because manga is where it's at. That's where you're gonna get your most content, really. And you don't have to worry about, oh, does the animation look crap? You know. But yeah, I should be having some more videos uploaded tomorrow on my channel. Definitely check it out. Sub if you like it. There's only one video there at the moment, but check it out tomorrow. Hopefully there'll be more content there for you.
Nice. Yeah, link in the description. Let's go to Nawagata.
Now I do funny skits and anime news, and soon I'm just going to be moving to animations.
Hell yeah! What
Interesting.
kind of
Like
animation you do?
cartoons?
What's your favorite ecchi? let's.
Oh, my
let's-
favorite ecchi? Kill all the way.
No, I don't count that as ecchi. I know.
What? Okay, that.
That's
Okay.
anime with
Grace.
fan service.
Oh,
That's
don't
brilliant
know.
anime with some fan service.
Denial.
You're
That's
basically
denial.
saying that anything that you define as good cannot be also defined as ecchi.
oh,
No,
okay.
no, no.
Danger was good ecchi, but I feel Kill la Kill is way too plot centered to be just ecchi. You know.
That's Monster
Like
Musume.
that actually,
Are you
that actually
hell
in the
yeah,
plot is because of
What
the
an
reason.
answer! God, that's a good answer.
That's
Okay,
like
well-
that one.
Nawagata considers it ecchi, so she can choose it as her favorite ecchi.
No, I'll say
Oh my
Monster
God.
Musume. No, Monster Musume. That was good. I like that.
Yeah,
I guess I can't assume dictatorial powers yet, but thank you, Nawa. Let's now go to Anime Recon.
Thank God.
Oh boy, it's me, Mickey Mouse, and I do them top 10 videos, and my favorite ecchi is High School DxD. Oh
Can you mute him,
boy.
please? Just mute him.
That was scary good. That was scary good. Oh my god! Now we're gonna get sued by Disney. Amazing.
Disney is coming after you.
Yeah, but-
I just want to clarify that I don't stand behind the statements of Anime Recon or Anime Recon's affiliates.
No, what's
All right,
what's
and
more
finishing
worrying?
off with Nux, which if you haven't seen the challenge, definitely be sure to check it out. Link in the description. It was a fun time. it was a frustrating fun time, but I loved it. Nux, go ahead.
Oh boy! So I would have to say we already spoke about most of my favorite ecchi anime, like Shokugeki no Soma and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. But what I would like to mention, since no one said anything about it, I think Seven Deadly Sins is one of my favorite ecchi anime, or at least has many ecchi points to it, because it's focused more on the shonen and cast and not focused on the ecchi.
Again, I would just say that's a shonen with fan service.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
you're thinking about the other Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the other one.
The other Seven Deadly Sins.
No, not that Seven Deadly Sins.
Well,
I was
that's
talking
ecchi.
I was talking about
that's
the
actually-
rape-infested iDubbbz video, Seven Deadly Sins of Rice Gum.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I was thinking about the one that's like basically Queen's Blade, but with
Yeah.
demons.
Basically,
That
That's
that
it,
one.
basically.
With Meliodas and the group.
Yeah,
And I
Asmodeus
do-
and all them.
And
Yeah.
anime content on my channel, sarcastic and analysis. And that is all.
Yeah, paradoxically, Nux does really sarcastic content and also like in-depth analyses. So people are very confused as to which is which.
People don't know what is going on.
Yeah, there's
he
only
analyzed-
one
Well,
video.
don't feel bad. It's not like I know what's going on either. So we're all in the same group here.
For example, he analyzed the potato chip scene in Death Note way before Mother's Basement, and he.
Jeff, you get on this.
It's like, is it serious? Is it sarcasm? Is it both? It's brilliant.
Thank you.
But yeah, guys, thank you everyone for joining us for Rant Café. Thank you, Holden, for being here with us for the first time. Pleasure having you.
You do.
Everyone in the chat as well, thank you for participating. There was a lot of discussion going on. I couldn't, mention chat too often, but you guys definitely contributed a lot. I saw some crazy shit as usual, some actual common sense shit that made sense. So yeah, thank you everybody. Next week we're back at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as always. And until that next time, see ya, Space Cowboys. No, stop. Recon.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.